right, let's just dive straight in. It's wonderful to speak to you, particularly when we're at this point in time. God, I love the build as long and winding and they can be. I do enjoy the build to a new release. So, firstly, how are you? And where is your head at right now, being a mere few weeks away from the release of the new album?
it's exciting, isn't it? It's like you say, it's the build up, and we finished the record. We finished tracking a record in like January last year. So, and I was kind of putting it together for about 6 months before that. So for me, this is an excruciatingly long amount of time to put a record out. So it's not really in the grand scheme of things that long. A year and a half to start and finish and put out a record, I think. But historically, for me, it's a very, very long time. I've been doing stuff much quicker than that in the past, but that's just how these things go, unfortunately.
Yeah, it is how things go, as you say. There's not really a lot you can do about that. And even still, like because of how things are now, you kind of you have no choice, right? Because it's all about releasing singles, promotion, and just getting the word out as much as possible in the build towards it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you've got to do things in the right order, and there's a whole kind of machine behind the record. So, of Candlelight Records and everybody else. So I can list loads of reasons why it's been delayed and up to this point, but it's not important. The important thing is it's coming out soon. And yeah, we're really excited for it. Obviously, yeah, really excited.
Yeah, delays are delays, and
Yeah, yeah,
anyone that's been paying attention over the past few years will have some idea of certain things that have been going on anyway. It's not
yeah,
like
yeah.
it's a new thing, right? But Candlelight, been really supportive on this journey. You've really been working really well within this album.
Yeah. They're always good. They've had a couple of new faces and things in between our record. So we in between our last record and this record. So it's kind of a freshness to it. So, but yeah, I mean we're still with them. We're still putting a record out. So yeah, all good, all good.
That's good, good, good. Of course, we should say it is out February 21st. Now, this is gonna kill people for pronunciations. Go on. How good have you got at saying it?
The title
Yeah,
is Existentialismus.
there it is. There it is.
So
I s- I
yeah.
broke it down, spent ages repeating it over and over and over and over and over again. And then just before we did this call, I said it out loud and got it wrong again. I was like, God damn it.
It's a German pronunciation of the word existentialism, which is a type of branch of philosophy, if you like. So it's existentialismus. Um,
People will
something
get
or,
used to
or
it.
or more German flavor if you're from that area, I suppose.
Yeah, awesome, awesome. So try if you can sum up what you think this album says about abduction as you stand here in 2025.
Sure. I've we seem to be. Oh, let's start. There's so many ideas rolled into one thing. I mean, it's definitely obviously influenced by a kind of existentialist philosophy, and the classic writings of people like Nietzsche and Solzhenitsyn and Dostoevsky, all the kind of Russian and German people. But it's just kind of my reaction to a modern world, and I'm uncomfortable in it, and that it's my kind of venting of yeah. I mean, the previous records have always been searching kind of beyond into the ether and sort of this idea of people have said aliens because it's abduction, but that's not particularly about aliens. It's more of a kind of metaphorical other world, almost a spiritual thing. But this record is very much not that. It's very much kind of insular and from the self. So yeah, that's a shortish answer. um, but
I'm
yeah,
gonna
the ideas on there are all kind of linked to stuff I've been reading, stuff I feel strongly about, stuff I'm upset with, worries for the future, things like that. So yeah,
hmm. You might sum it up there, but yeah, we're going to get into the bigger picture now, really, the deepness of it, because
sure,
that's a lot. That is a wide and encompassing
it is.
creative area to draw from. Where's the spark? The spark. Can you cast your mind back to what sparked this process? What this idea?
I think the big change in milestone is that I've moved from the big city to the back to my rural town. So there isn't like a book I've read that inspired me or anything like that. It's the the physical process of moving away and back to our hometown that I know and is kind of completely separate from all the rat race bullshit. So and it's just kind of green and gives me space and is a safe place. Never feel safe in the city. So that transition in between these two records is definitely a big spark. So yeah, and I tend to just write how I'm feeling at the time, so that before that I've definitely felt trapped and unsafe and wanted to get out and explore other realms and other universes and things. And whereas now I kind of have space to sort of sit quietly and think. So that's where that's the difference, I suppose.
What an incredible way to sum it up. But you have that spark. How does that become a vision and clarity, direction on where you want to write and where do you want to go with that?
It's a really good question. I think it doesn't really become a vision until it is something for me. I
Mm.
don't start off with like a mood board or anything like that. People do creative pursuits and often do things that way. I don't tend to do that at all. I just kind of start with really kind of improvised, free thought flowing ideas and build pieces up from there. Whether even that's with the music as well.
Mm.
So it's not an improvised record or anything like that, but there are a lot of moments on the record that are literally copies of the. I've got the original recordings of me resting around in a rehearsal room, and it's exactly the same. I've learned the guys that play on it are playing exactly the same thing. So those moments are really important to capture, I think, and I just use them as building blocks for where does it go next. Someone asked me in
I think I might have lost you there.
a few days ago in an interview, where it's only ever abandoned. Did you lose me?
Hold on.
Oh
Yep.
no.
We've hit some lag
Am I
momentarily.
here?
You are there
Yeah.
now. You are back, but you were
Okay.
super delayed for a second. No, I think we're okay. A little bit out of sync, but we're
That's
okay.
okay.
You
It's
said,
okay. I'm just rambling
yeah.
towards the end. Don't worry.
No, I loved. You were saying somebody asked you in an interview the other day. I'd love to hear what that was.
Oh, they said, how do you know when it's finished? How do you know when a song is finished? And it's never ever finished. It is only ever abandoned.
Yeah.
Which is not my phrase, but it definitely applies to this. So yeah, when you get to the point where you go, no, that's enough. That's enough now.
Yeah, is it easy though at this stage, considering the work you've done and the stuff you've done and the creative stuff you put out there? Is it easier now for you to be able to step back and walk away from something? You know you can't do any more to it. You fiddle with it too much. You need to step back, you need to walk away and leave it. Is it easy?
Yeah, it's just something I think that's just something you acquire with time. It's kind of wisdom
Mm.
of the process, really. When this is album 5, so you'd hope that by album 5 you're a slightly better songwriter than you are at album 1. With anything, you'd hope that to be the case. So yeah, I think that is somewhat true. And also, you get better at knowing not when to not push it. As well as throughout the process, because I've done stuff in the past very quickly and just got it out there. Did like 2 EPs in like 2 months or something on when COVID was on and all these things. And sometimes you have to let things cook a little bit. So,
Mm.
I've been guilty of rushing for things in the past, but I don't think I've done that on this. I mean, I definitely haven't done it on this because I've waited so long. Like I was saying, yeah, wisdom of doing it a few more times. You get better at things, I guess.
That it, well, Mr. Hope, isn't it? That each time, every day, every week, you learn just a little bit more about what you're doing.
Correct. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, those building blocks, those early stages, you're putting something together, you're not quite sure what it is, but you are obviously experimenting. How experimental did those early stages get? And did you kind of step over your own personal lines in the sand? And what I mean by that is, did you start to think, well, this is not abduction, this is something else completely?
Um, I don't think I've ever thought this isn't abduction.
Hmm.
I when I have no. I mean, it's just because I've done such a broad range of stuff. I can't. It's kind of an anything goes scenarios. And like I said, I just know when it's cooked. So I've done like there are EPs and tape releases and stuff that are really, really raw, and I really love that kind of stuff as well. And there is like dark ambient tracks where it's just completely improvised me with no guitars or anything, and I've experimented with all sorts of things. So there's really anything is on the table if I'm in that room and trying to generate something. I just don't know what it'll look like at the end, and that's the fun, isn't it? That's part of the process. So yeah, I think there's a little moment when I kind of put something together and go, oh, that's a fucking gigantic, big, clean chorus. That might upset some people, and then I go, oh, fuck it, I'll do it anyway. I hope it upsets some people.
They're paying attention to regardless, right?
Yeah, exactly. Just keep people on their toes, whatever. If I think it works in the song, then I'll use it. And that's a broad scope for me. As if anyone's checked out my stuff before, they will probably understand that.
Mm. What about expressiveness then? Again, sticking to those early creative stages where you're building those blocks, you're drawn from inside, you're pulling from more an insular place, which obviously means you kind of have to express yourself in perhaps a way that you've never done before. Did you find yourself noticeably being quite either emotional or not maybe expressing as honestly as you wanted to?
I think this is definitely a more emotional record. That's 100% true. And I say it's just how I'm feeling at the time. So Black Blood is kind of weird and experimental and has really lots of death metal bits and things like that in it. It goes down a lot of different paths, but this album is a little bit more straightforward and actually quite emotional.
Mm.
And that's, again, it's just how I'm feeling at the time. So I'm not. I think that emotional weight is really important in music, particularly in black metal. I mean, it can be as cold and black and white as and crusty and Norwegian as you like, but really any kind of music has some sort of emotional weight to it. So anything that really people really are attracted to in numbers. That's not why I've added it, of course, but it's because I appreciate lots of music. But
Mm.
yeah, I think it's really important to have that. To people identify with music in an emotional way. Less so with more like death metal,
Yeah.
but generally speaking. But there are fewer death metal bits on this record, so it's I think it is definitely a more. I want it to be the kind of record that people have like shivers in certain parts. Not all the time. You can't do that all the time, but like truth is as sharp as
A
sword as vengeance.
moment.
Track 3 is like a particular moment where it's like, yeah, let's fucking throw it all into this. And the subject matter and everything, it's kind of about the fear of the future for my son, which I'm sure is probably an idea that anyone who's a parent can in 2025 can find something to relate to in that. So yeah, there's a real genuine fear and an emotion in the lyrics and how I've delivered it and everything. It's not so much like this is a death metal part, this is a black metal part. It's just whatever I think the song needs at the time, and that's how it's gone. So yeah.
Is it easy for you now to kind of reflect on, so, these feelings that you might have felt at the time? Then, ideally, most of them will be as relevant now as they were back then, but obviously you will have grown as a person, forget as an artist, as a person. So is it easy for you to look back at some of the feelings that you felt in this particular album and feel the same level of emotion and honesty within that track?
Absolutely. Yeah. We're still in that place. And, the broad, sweeping landscape of the world and the things that I think I need to speak about or think I'm channeling or whatever, they're all still there. So, and I know
Yeah.
that because we just did a bunch of shows just before Christmas. We played a bunch of shows in Europe and a headline tour. And then we kind of threw in a couple of extra songs in here and there from the record. And they're fucking like, I'm overwhelmed anytime I play with Abduction, but it's just like the new stuff is really just supercharged. I know every band's going to say that with a new record. They're going to say this is the best one or whatever, but I really have felt that emotional charge, particularly with the new stuff, definitely. the last section on the record as well, in that last song, that as well, and truth is the sharp sword's vengeance. I think people will hopefully will pick out as the sort of emotional highlights, but I definitely feel them a lot. Probably too much.
How did they go down in the live environment? I presume they went down well.
Yeah, good. Yeah, really good. We've been playing some of the songs of this record for all of last year, so
Mm.
there are some parts people know, and also that last 3 or 4 minutes of the last song is kind of a part two of a song that's on All Pain as Penance. So there's on the third album, All Pain as Penance, there's a song called Convulsing at Baalbek. And then this is Vomiting at Baalbek, which is we call Baalbek Part Two. So it's kind of like a sort of an A and B, but it does like what's the musical term? A reprise, a reprise. It does a
Mm.
reprise, except I've been really smart about the melody and made it a little bit darker and things. But yeah, it's supposed to make people think, oh, I've heard this before, and you have. It's on that record.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit different. So when you do that, people kind of, even if it's a new song, people are like, oh, I get this. I
Yeah.
already know this one, and it's not quite what they expect, but it is delivering the same thing. So yeah, it's been going down really well.
Do you pay much attention to the online side of things? Of course, music is out there already with videos and comments all available for people to tap away, and there are plenty of opinions out there. But
I
uh,
saw I saw a comment on YouTube about my teeth, which is pretty funny.
no, come on.
No, I don't. To answer your question, no, I fucking don't. I don't give a shit. I don't do the most ridiculous form of extreme subgenre art because I give a fuck what the internet thinks. Like, I really don't.
Well, I was gonna take it from a very positive angle because the majority that I've seen has been incredibly positive response to the song so far, and I just
Yeah.
wondered if like how much that buoys your sort of heart and soul when it comes to the full thing being released and everybody hearing it. Because if that's the reaction to the singles, I mean, feels good for the album, right?
Yeah, well, it does. It does feel good. I do see things. Obviously, I have like some control over the social media and things, but I don't get bogged down in like strangers' comments about the thing I'm doing that's weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been really positive, largely positive, and we're getting. We've got another single coming out just before the record comes out as well,
Yeah.
which is a surprise, by the way. So yeah, it's all largely positive, and we just want to keep building on it. But it's at the end of the day, it's quite an extreme form of like I say, a subgenre of a subgenre in a kind of outsider art form. So I'm just glad that anyone's interested in it. Really, it's fantastic that we're in this position.
It feels like a lot of people are interested. I love the reaction to music online, particularly when it comes to people who are experiencing it for the first time. That's still happening. That's
Yeah,
incredible. I don't know if that's just like a Spotify thing or whatever, but it definitely feels like more and more people are discovering you, and that's really, really cool to see. A lot of that comes from, I feel like you've refined almost the build period, like how you're working and what your antics are online and how people are learning about you seems more refined than ever.
yeah.
Is that the case? Have you thought a lot more about promoting this record this time around than any other?
That's a joint effort. I mean, the promotion of the record is us, but it's largely Candlelight Records as well. Um, and again, like the songwriting process, you would hope that there is an increase each time. That if you plotted it on a graph, you'd hope it goes up like that.
Ideally.
So I don't know what the numbers are, the sales or anything, or the pre-orders, but you'd hope that it's an increase on last time. It feels like it's going that way, definitely.
Hmm.
I forgot the first part of your question, but
Well, no, it was
yeah,
more it was more a statement. I just wanted to
yeah,
express that I've noticed that I'm paying attention, looking at things that's gone really, really well. It
yeah.
seems like
That's
it's
really
gone
cool, man.
really, really well. But on that front, talking about the extensive build and the things you've got to do and the things that could be fun and work. When you're looking back now, what's been some of your favorite moments of the build period, whether it be making music, artwork, stuff like that? So not making music, making videos.
Um, Making videos was a lot of fun,
Mm.
definitely. And yeah, we managed to capture a really a really good young filmmaker who's done quite a few music videos, but nothing really like what the music we do.
Mm.
So that was really really good.
Cool.
When you sometimes you just work with someone and you're like, this is fucking right. This relationship is right. He gets what I want to do. So yeah, that's been probably my favorite part of the process, and recording the album, because the album is recorded by myself, but largely all the four other people in Abduction now, which is that's the first time this has occurred in the band's existence, because it started off with just me
Mm-hmm.
and has been mostly me apart from drums on everything since. The previous album, Black Blood, for example, is everything. I do everything apart from the drums. So this is the first time around we've kind of established ourselves to the point where they're established in the band enough, more than enough. They were allowed to
Yeah.
now play on the record. So yeah, they're it's good for them as well. They're not here to talk to you today, but they're very pleased that they're actually on the record, because up until that point they've been playing my songs but they don't appear on the record, so
Mm.
it's quite a big change for them. So I think they're pretty pleased with it. That's been a great part of the process, because that was a little bit I'm not used to it. I'm used to doing
Yeah.
everything. I'm not used to letting go and going, your turn. So yeah, that was interesting, but it's good, all good.
How comfortable? How long did it take you to get comfortable with basically, say, handing over the reins over to others?
This long. Well, maybe a year ago, because that's when we
Yeah.
recorded it. But no, I mean, it's just, I think it will always be my songwriting, and I'm the one that kind of locks myself away in a room and comes back a few days later with, oh, here you go, guys, here's a demo for something that I'd put out. And in the early days, that would be what I put out.
Yeah.
But things are a little different now. I think, yeah, they just kind of learn what I tell them to do. They're fucking amazing. They do
Yeah.
everything. They do everything exactly the right way that they need to do all the time, and I can't thank them enough for that. So, and we're just buddies. So it's great, great.
When you reflect on the overall creative period, so we're talking from the very first thing you ever wrote to literally the end, the album's
Yeah,
done and it's got to go out into the world.
yeah.
What would be your favorite moment?
Yeah, I have to say the new record, don't I?
Oh, there's a whole new record.
um, my favorite music, as in my
No,
music.
no moment, like
Yeah.
as in
Oh,
from the
moment.
entire,
Oh,
yeah,
right.
moment.
Okay, yeah, that's definitely better. Better question. Um, and my favorite moment. We've had some fucking cool shows abroad. Oh, it's so hard to pick a favorite moment. Um,
Oh no, see, let's read. I'm going to repeat this question. I'm talking about this specific album, the entire creative process for
ah,
this album, from the very beginning of what your first thing you ever wrote for it to the
yeah.
end here. I want
Okay,
to,
right.
oh,
Gotcha.
even
Yeah,
it
yeah.
doesn't even got to be one. Some of your favorite moments where you look back and you reflect on in such a positive way.
Probably when we have the first masters back, so the final recordings from Tore Stjerne in Norway, he's the guy that's produced it. So he's Mayhem's guitar tech. He's produces Watain. He produces lots and fucking hundreds of bands. But we knew we wanted to work with someone other than ourselves or myself, and we were fortunate enough that he was on board. So the start of that was a great process, as part of, because we recorded it somewhere else. We recorded it just where we normally record it, and then we just gave it to Torre to say, turn this into what we want. So
Mm.
when we got the masters back for that, and you kind of sit back and go, start to finish, track one all the way through to track 6, 44 minutes or whatever. That's a pretty important moment. I usually find it nearly brings a tear to my eye.
Mhm.
um, and then the second moment is when you get the vinyl master back. I have the test press, or the actual, no, not the test press, the actual vinyl. When you look at the artwork and you go, that's the final. It's a beautiful, beautiful moment.
I'm glad you've had those moments. That's the most important thing, that you're able to reflect and think, God damn, those moments exist for this record too. They might have existed in the past, but each one's going to be brand new and individual, and this one is another fantastic experience.
Yeah, man.
What do you hope, that's the right word, hope listeners take away from the album?
I think I, I hope they can feel something anywhere near to the emotional kind of weight that I feel when I put it in there. I hope that can be translated across. I never really had that particular wish before with an Abduction record, but like I was talking
Mm.
about before, the things that I'm singing about and I'm worried about. If you really want to look any deeper, look at the lyrics. Sit and look at the lyrics rather than just being another layer of sound, because there's stuff going on there. There's lots of things that maybe people will relate to. So, I mean, I would encourage people that listen to it to sit with the record and read the lyrics. That's how I listen to music. That's how you should listen to music. It's what I did when I was a child. So I hope if people do that, they can feel the fear and the pain and the bitterness and the worry
Hmm.
that I felt when I'm making it. I know I've got a big smile on my face now, but like I hope that translates across.
No, it's fascinating as well because it's such an open thought process of these worries and concerns that it feels like almost everybody can relate in some way or another, even if it's not exactly what you felt or or feeling right now. It feels like everybody can relate in some way. You've just got to be willing to get themselves into that place to connect with you effectively. Um,
Yeah.
it's going to make listening to this record one of the more fascinating experiences, abduction experiences in a very long time.
Thanks. Yeah, it's very kind. I'm really excited about it. I mean, it's a fine line between it's like the kind of the movie making adage, isn't it? Of like show, don't tell.
Mhm.
And this kind of stuff, the interviews, podcasts, and things, is a telling process. So it's like, tell us about the record, and I get that, and I understand it. But really, I want people to experience it. I want them to hear it. I want them um, to feel that chord progression go up and then down, and then the emotional blasting bit and that comes afterwards when it peaks, and all those kind of little moments. So that's what I hope for people with this record. Might be asking a lot, I don't know, but I can't tell everyone everything, because then that's not what art is. They need to figure it out themselves. But yeah, I hope they can enjoy the journey, I guess.
No, I completely understand where you're coming from. I'm talking as if I've not listened to this album. I've listened to this album five, maybe 5 times, but today alone because I've been up since half. I was up from 5:30 this morning. I've been at work. I can listen to music work, and I knew we were having this chat. So I was like, right, get yourself well into this.
That is
So and I
true
just want.
dedication, my friend. Thank you.
Well, and I want to sit here and say this is this and this is the best thing, whatever, and stuff like that. But that's not what I'm here for. That's not what I'm supposed to do. Other than, and obviously, people are like, well, you would say that. You're talking to Abduction now, so you're going to tell them that the album's fantastic. It's like, no, it's true though. It is.
Yeah, no, that's really kind, man. I mean, yeah, we'll have to see. But it remains to be seen what the impact will be, for the bigger scale. But yeah, I mean, everyone has heard it, really loves it, and it feels really good. I try not to get too caught up in what other people think too much, because it turns you into a bit of a dickhead quite quickly. But I think it's fucking amazing, obviously, and
And
that's
we
not
all know
from other
that.
people. I obviously love it because I made it. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
It is, it's almost cliche to say, oh, well, you will love it because you made it. However, you've lived with it so long. There's an argument to say that at this stage, you might just be like, I'm so sick to death of this, and I kind of want to just move on artistically. That's
I have
clearly
been,
not the case.
I have had, moments like that, in this build up, but as I've learned from doing this process a few times, quite a few times now, like it becomes a completely different beast once it's out there. Like you think of it differently. Um, and I can't really explain why that is. It's not because of other people's opinions or anything. It's kind of, it just feels different when it's out in the world. I've listened to
Hmm.
those songs fucking thousands of times in various versions. I don't choose to put it on to listen to now. I just know it, but I haven't listened to it 5 times today. but but yeah, I mean, when it's out in the real world, it's kind of like, I don't know, when it's unleashed. It's like a dog with a lead
Hmm.
on, and then a dog when it's running around by itself, I guess, or something like that.
Well,
Uh,
yeah, is it
you
simply the
see it,
fact
you
that
see
you've
it from
lost
a different
control?
perspective. Yeah, and also it's not in my control anymore. So
Yeah.
it's tough shit. Whether it goes
Yeah,
well or not, it just is. That's okay.
no, absolutely. And fingers crossed it will. So the last question I've got for you, really, and it's this, and it's success
Sure.
measured in such odd ways these days. Certainly not how it was when I was younger, but success as a person, as an artist, can be measured in very different ways. So for you, what would success for this album look like?
Um, I hope that it enables us to continue the path that I think we're taking, which is to continue doing cool stuff in cool places. I mean, I know it's supposed to be miserable and dark, and the music very much is, but what I really enjoy is, I mean, I'm just very thankful of the fact we get to fucking fly to Estonia in a couple of weeks to, you know, and we just come back off some dates in Germany with Ulcerate, and you know, these are fucking cool things that I don't take for granted. So I hope that we can just do more of that, and at the level we're at or higher, that's fine.
Yeah.
um, for as long as everybody who's involved in it is happy with it, really. That's the only thing. I mean, I'm always going to be creating something and putting things out. I have put other records out in the meantime and other names and stuff that no one will ever find out about. But yeah, this I just hope it enables us to carry on. Really, that's
It's not a
there's
lot to
no big
ask.
plan. There's no gigantic plan. Uh, there's no vision board, like I said.
It's not a lot to ask, and I have utmost faith in you to be able to do that, to continue what you're doing, but go on to bigger and better things. Fingers crossed it does work out exactly as I want it to, exactly you want it to as well. No vision board, fair enough, but doesn't mean we can't. What do they call it? Where you're thinking about something and trying to bring it to reality. Can't remember what the word is. There's a word for that, but yeah,
Manifest it.
there it
Manifest
is.
it.
Let's
Yeah,
manifest it.
yeah, yeah. Let's manifest it, man. Let's do it.
Can't wait to see the reaction to it. But thank you so much for taking the time to chat to me today. I really
It's
appreciate
okay,
it.
man. Thank you very much. Thanks, and we got there in the end, didn't we? Yeah.
Thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed what you've seen, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button. It does help us out. You can find us at gbhbl.com and across all social media platforms. And if you really want to give us a bit of extra support, please consider buying us a cup of coffee over on our coffee page. Thank you.